there, and welcome to Digital Teaching Talk. With this particular episode, we're going to walk you through what to do with your newly migrated course content. So we contracted with a company that actually moved your original course content into an ultra flavor. And so this series, if you will, of short videos is going to walk you through how you massage that stuff, how you take it in the format that you get, which is not bad. It's pretty well organized, but it's not in the best format it could be. So what we're going to do is walk you through ways to do this. Now, the thing you need to remember is the way that I show you may not be the best way for you, and you might find something that works better. But what we hope is that you get a feeling for how you can actually make this happen by watching these little videos and taking time to look at them and make sure everything's going well. So we're going to start with part one, and part one is going to deal with setting up and making sure that when you migrate everything over, and you'll see in just a second how you set up that course information area. And by course information area, I mean that place in your course where you kept your syllabus, possibly your schedule, maybe some instructions around things like Respondus Monitor or a couple, and like maybe an overall schedule. So what I'm going to do is start with this particular video in our first part, and we'll break it down after as we go. Hope that sounds good. So we're going to start by sharing my screen. And before we look at the future, let's get a quick look at where we've come from, right? So here's a course. We're familiar with the course. We know that we've got, there's our navigation on the left, which affects the content on the right. And this navigation here on the left was really set up in a way over time to be kind of visual for the students, to kind of help them organize what the rest of the course is going to look like. Well, in the ultra format, what the course is organized is exactly how it's set up. So it's just important how you build, not necessarily, you'll see the difference as we work through it. So here, you would see that on the left here, a lot of this stuff here is for students. It's kind of things that they'll have access to over the entire session of the course, right? So we're going to think a little differently about those in the ultra format. So we're going to actually break down this course information area in the new ultra flavor. All right, cool. So let's jump into this course, but in ultra. So as I think about these courses and think about how I want to put them together, the one thing you're going to realize in the ultra environment is that everything is in the same place. You don't need to go click over somewhere else to access content here. It's all in line. And that's convenient for your students because they know if they click on something, it's just going to open it up and they're going to have easy access to it. They're not going to have to click on something that takes you somewhere else. Like I don't click on the left to change something on the right. So it's more visually intuitive in that regard. But in order for us to make the most out of it, we're going to do some things. So I want you to look at this course. In particular, everything that you bring over from original to ultra is in the form of a learning module. Now, for course content in ultra, that makes a lot of sense, and we'll get into that when we get into our next segment on how to bring over our wonderful modules, our units, and how they might be best displayed. They're already here, but what's the best way to display them? So for right now, you're going to see that each little single item that came over from the old course, right? Each one of these things came over as a module. So here, I've got a syllabus, which really in this course would just open up a page with the syllabus on it, right? Here, the syllabus opens up a box that has stuff in it, right? So just know that we're going to work through this together and start with just the syllabus because I think that's an easy place for us to get going. But just know that every one of the modules in here represents something that was on the menu on the left of the old course. So for instance, my units module shows all my units in folder format there, right? So what I'm going to start to do is I'm actually going to create and not a learning module. I'm going to go away from that. For my quick boilerplate information where my students can have ready access, I'm going to create a course information folder. where I can place the syllabus, where I can place the schedule, maybe those respond as monitor instructions, any kind of policies or anything that I want to put in there that's outside of just going through content in my course. I can do that. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You could put all of that in your Start Here section if you wanted to, in your Start Here module. There are multiple ways to skin this cat. So just know that you're going to be able to do what's going to work best for you. What I'm going to show you is just one way, okay? Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create, and we get into this in the content. I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, enroll in our Ultra 5-pack of courses. We offer these sessions where we teach you how to build content, how to communicate in your course, how to assess, how to grade, and how to do group collaboration and all that stuff. So enroll in our Ultra 5-packs. They are definitely helpful in that regard. But in this case, I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to assume you have somewhat of a sense of what to do in order how to get this to work. So I might go a little faster through the adding of things, but you can always stop and rewind and watch again. So I'm going to start by creating a folder. And I'm going to call that folder, funny enough, course information, right? So whenever you do create things and add a folder, it's going to ask me, do I want to hide it from students? Currently, there's not going to be any students in this imported course. It's a course separate and aside from your other content. So you can make it visible if you'd like. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to add a little description for my students, right? So that they know what's inside this. And I'm going to say this, something to the effect of, this folder contains the course syllabus, comma, timeline of due dates, respondus, monitor instructions, and more, in case I had more. And obviously I'm going to change my respondus. I'm going to change my spelling there, but boom, I've created a folder, right? So now I'm going to hit save. So at this point, I'm going to start with my first layer of changes, right? One of the best things about the Ultra environment is the ability to drag and drop to anywhere I would like. So for instance, right now, I've got PDF preview and download. This is in the old Blackboard. This is in order to have a PDF show up on the screen for students, we had to go around some magical code to get it to happen, right? Not so much anymore. Now when they click on it, it will open embedded in the viewer that they're looking at. But here in the old one, were I to click on it, it would show up as it did in the old one, where it's embedded here, a very small preview, and then a PDF. They can actually download a PDF of the syllabus. So what I'm going to show you, is how I can just get this syllabus. So I'm going to get the syllabus, and I'm going to download it. And so easy, I'm going to save it to my local computer, which isn't a big deal, and hit save. And then I'm going to come back and close this window. So now, inside my syllabus folder, I'm going to set up my syllabus. And you'll see that it's pretty darn easy to do from this standpoint, right? So opening and closing to put stuff inside of it in Ultra is a big deal. So whether it be a learning module or a folder, if I want something to go inside it, I first need to click on it to open it, and you'll see a little sub box pop right there. So I'm going to hit the little plus sign and choose, at this point, File Upload. I'm going to choose to upload the file that I just saved. So I'll click on Upload and go to the file that I just added. And it's going to ask me some questions. It'll say, hey, Jacob, what you want to give this something a different display name? And I'll say, sure, course syllabus. And then do I want students to be able to view and download, view only, or download only? Well, it's the syllabus, so for me, view and download, super important, right? So I'm going to hit save. And I'll make it visible to students. Now, the student, when they get access to the course, they would simply come in, and I'm going to give a student preview just to show you what this might look like, right? So they would come in and get access, and they see the course information, so they can click on it and then go to course syllabus. And when they do click on course syllabus, it just opens right up. right there previewed in there for them in the browser. They don't have to have Acrobat or Acrobat Reader. It does it for them so they can see it. And from the syllabus, they can then download it easy right there. If they'd like to interact with the syllabus in another way, maybe listen to it in their car or find a different, more accessible version, they can use the Ally alternative formats reader, which lets them download and absorb that syllabus in a way that makes sense for them. So they can maybe download an EPUB format and put it on their e-reader, whatever works. So for starters, that is how you can grab and move your syllabus and put it inside the course information folder. So now that I've done that here, right, now that I have taken this particular course, I can go ahead and get rid of the thing that had the syllabus before. So I'm going to exit out of my student preview. And I'm right here. And then it's almost like my own little checkoff list, right? I can get rid of syllabus. Ta-da! But now I've got some other things in here. I've got some other documents that I want to go inside my course information. And you'll find in Ultra that I can just take something that's inside one place, move it outside of that place, and put it inside another place. We could not do that in the original environment. We had to do a lot of move to or copy to when it came to that. So as I have, I could look here under course information. They're closed right now. I would open it up to see it on the inside. And you can see that I could add something just underneath course syllabus if I'd like. I'm going to come down to timeline of due dates and grab the timeline of due dates document that's right here that has that information in it. Were I to click on it just to open it, you would see that it has my due dates from a previous semester, and there's just a timeline for my students to see in one spot. So now I'm going to take it, and you see how when I put my mouse on it, a little hand pops up on my screen? You'll see here that it's got an up and down arrow right here, but I can just take and drag this directly inside and underneath the course syllabus of the course information folder. So boom, I now have drug that timeline of due dates just underneath course syllabus. So now the students know that the syllabus and the timeline of due dates are all in that course information folder, right? So again, I can come down here and get rid of timeline of due dates. It's gone. And then I've got respondus monitor instructions. So what does that mean? Those are instructions for when a student needs to be proctored remotely while taking the test, right? In this case, I am probably note to self. I will have to get in there and edit those instructions because they're going to be a little different in the Ultra environment. You can lean on your faculty development team to find those instructions. You can also find them inside the support org or by contacting the support desk. But the faculty development team will be a big help for you there. You can reach out to us. But I digress. So I'm going to open up the respondus monitor instructions and pull them the same exact way that I pulled the other and drag them right underneath, and even this hidden one, because I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to pull it right underneath the course information. So all of those things show up under course information, right? So there, I have created that little, I'm recreating, if you will, that course information visual navigation for my students in a real substantive way in the Ultra environment, right? So that means I've got one more thing to move. And really in this case, I don't want to move it because you'll find when they moved it over. So I'm going to go to Virtual Office, and I'm actually going to create a folder inside of this folder. Oh my gosh, did you just say that? Yes, I'm going to be nesting a folder called the Virtual Office, which will have some more stuff in there for my students. So what I will do right now is you'll see first here, if I look at the original Virtual Office that came over, it starts off with a Meet My Professor information, and it's got some instructor information and a bio. So I want to get all that stuff and bring them into the course, right? Into this specific new place. So under course information, I am going to, this is hidden from students, by the way, but I'm going to go ahead and click and create another folder called Virtual Office. And I would give it some context, right? Here is where you can learn a little more about me, comma, stop by and talk by posting your question to the virtual office discussion board, and more, right? So I've given them a little bit of context of what's going to be inside that folder. So I'm going to hit save. So now you're going to see that there is a folder further inside this course information folder, should I want to do that. In a minute, I'll talk to you about what you can do besides the virtual office, but I want to show you just the actual steps of moving this stuff to where it needs to go. So what I want to do is I want to actually grab, and I'm going to delete this one that we didn't delete earlier, respondus monitor instructions, because we already moved it. So I'm going to come down here to virtual office, and inside this virtual office is I'm going to start this one, virtual office meet the professor, right? So I'm going to take it and bring it right inside here. So now virtual office meet your professor shows up underneath my virtual office folder. Then if I look further down, I've got some other issues, right? I've got a ways to contact the department. I can drag that up as well. So that shows up. And then lastly, I've got this thing called virtual office discussion forum. There currently is not one in here yet, but I can add one, right? There isn't. If I go to, and I'm going to double check because I haven't looked yet. It is there. Awesome. So what I can do is I can go ahead and get this. Here's the discussion forum, right? So what I can do is come back to my content. So I'm going to edit this really quick. Here. I'm going to edit it, and my virtual office is already there. So if we've imported your virtual office, it's actually going to be already here under discussions. But if I'd like to go ahead and place a link to it in my course, I need to do that, right? So I'm going to choose here and choose edit and go up to my settings. This is not graded, so it's not going to be graded. But what I want it to do is I want it to show up in my content. So right here is a checkbox that says display on course content page. So I'm going to check it and hit save. So now when I close this, and whoops, let's get back in the course. When I close it and scroll down right here, you will see that it shows up. There it is. So I need to move this into my virtual office, in my course information inside my virtual office folder. So what I'll do is I'll come down here to the bottom and start dragging it up slowly. Now here's the thing. When you're moving things up and down in your course, taking your time with the drag helps. If you move it too fast, you might drag it into something else. So I always just take my time. It doesn't hurt to go slow. So now, not only have I placed everything that was inside here, my course information shows up in there, my respondents, my timeline of due dates, my syllabus, my virtual office. Now is inside this little course information folder in my course. So I can now delete this other unit, starting to clean up the process. So that is the first step. That's the first step in that massaging of getting that course from the original to the ultra flavor. Remember, in step one, what we did was we came in and we started by saying, hey, here's our old course. Here's the new course. Everything that came over in a learning module. However, for that boilerplate information that isn't necessarily course content that you don't necessarily need students to go page by page through, a folder will work just fine. So here inside this course information area is where we drug our course syllabus, our timeline of due dates, our respondus monitor instructions. And then here's where we placed our virtual office so they could get access to all this stuff. So that being said, all of that is there. You see how quick it was, pretty easy for me to move it over, pretty painless. The good news is you can stop and rewind and watch this over and over again. So I hope that helps for step one in our episode one, if you will, of Digital Teaching Talk and what do I do with my newly converted course. I hope you liked it. And remember to reach out to us. You can always reach out to my team at facdev, F-A-C-D-E-V, at shsu.edu. Or you can reach out to our support desk at Blackboard at shsu.edu.